Well, you look at GE Vernova run. GE's old power division caught fire last year, but its stock has sold off the rest of the market in recent months. Do you think this fell from 40% from its January highs to its lows over this month before recovering a bit in recent weeks? This morning, though, the company reported a strong quarter with positive full-year forecast in spite of all the tariff turmoil, and that's why the stock rallied over 3% today. So are you getting a good entry point down here? Let's take a closer look at Scott Strazik. He's the CEO of GE Vernova to find out. Mr. Strazik, welcome back to Mad Money.
Jim, thanks for having me.
Okay, full year, and it looks like things are coming along pretty good.
No question. Good first quarter print, margin expansion in all three businesses, strong cash flow, returned over $1 billion of cash to our shareholders, and real opportunities to grow from here. Backlog expansion across the business and more to come.
I read all the different reports of so many different companies that here's something I never see. We are sold out, largely sold out for 26 and 27. You really have that much demand?
Gas turbines, we most certainly do. We're sold out for 26 and 27. We're filling out for 28 right now and starting to take orders for 2029 and having commercial discussions for 2030.
Well, that's better than aerospace.
We've got a real opportunity to serve here.
Right. Now, one of the things that I know, and you were very clear, you do have tariff exposure, and you 300, 400 billion, and you're going to mitigate it. But what you also could be, when I see that you say the most populous country in the world, India, are at 1.5 billion, but they need electricity, they have coal, Saudi Arabia needs it. I started thinking that maybe you're a solution to the tariff problem, not actually one of the things that's hurting us.
No question. At the heart of the tariff dynamic is trade imbalances. And as 70 countries come in and start negotiating with the U.S. government, they can stop in Greenville, South Carolina, and we can do a gas turbine transaction. They can stop in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we can work through our SMR business, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for our grid equipment, and we'll help with that trade imbalance.
Well, it does seem like in the old days what you would do, we know Larry Culp, who runs GE Aerospace, but the old days what you used to call it Boeing or GE and say, listen, we got a trade imbalance. We're in a problem here with the United States. We want to give you some big orders. And they would get it. It looks like these orders could go to GE Vernova.
We've got a real opportunity to serve these markets. I mean, the U.S. is a priority for us in all of these markets, but we've got opportunities in other places. In gas, right. Saudi Arabia is our second largest market today. You think about grid business, Europe is a big piece of the equation. But with wind, we're excited with what we can do in India, what we can do in Romania. There's global opportunities here across the board.
All right, now, Scott, one of the things that occurred to me when I first met you, I was very bullish on nuclear. You tried, and you correctly said, listen, Jim, please don't get ahead of yourself. When I spoke to you this morning, it was the first time that I felt that you were ahead of me in terms of what could happen in nuclear.
Things are moving fast. The reality in the last 90 days, we've had a lot of productive conversations with both the hyperscalers on what it takes to move this to the left, the administration. They clearly care on moving nuclear in the right direction in the U.S. We'll have multiple applications into the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in the next few months. And then it's going to come down to how long does it take to get licenses to construct approved. If we can get that done in 12 to 18 months, we've got a real shot here.
Well, if we have the Department of Interior, if we have the Department of Energy behind you, then I have to believe the NRC, which has historically been slow. And look, we want them to be thorough, but we don't necessarily have them need to be slow. You could be getting approvals, and I understand for TVA, it's happening right now.
Well, TVA will have their application into the NRC next month, and then we're off to the races from there. I mean, Secretary Wright, Secretary Burgum have been very available and accessible for us to partner on our steps forward. We're already in construction on the first plant. It's just in Canada. We need to get the first plant in construction in the U.S., and I'm highly confident we're going to get there.
Now, when I look at what you're doing with you mentioned the hyperscalers, I think that you're really kind of their hope. They're now, look, we all want we want solar, right? We love solar. We love wind. But in the end, they have to come back to you, don't they?
There's going to be a lot of gas build that's going to be required. They need dispatchable baseload power. Gas is the most efficient economic answer that's going to help them. If you look at our gas backlog today, it's negligible, the number of data center orders. But we often talk about what we call our slot reservation agreements. These are agreements we have with customers that have secured slots that aren't yet orders. About a third of that pipeline, which are contractual contracts where customers are paying directionally 20%, they're hyperscaler data center oriented orders. So that's an illustration of where this market is going, and I think we're just getting going.
I think that people are very unfair about natural gas. Natural gas gets cleaner every year. The people know how to do it. They're doing a terrific job, and yet somehow it's still people act like it's coal or fuel oil. It's not. It's much better than that.
we've decarbonized the electric grid in the U.S. with coal to gas switching. And ultimately, gas is the force multiplier for more wind and solar to get built. Without gas, you can't get to renewable penetration rates that the world is looking for.
Now, could you please tell us where we are, where you think we are in the cycle, knowing that a couple years ago there was no cycle? Where are we now in what you think could be a multi-year move for your company?
Well, when you really take a step back and look at it, there hasn't been a lot of investment since really 1975.
Well, there wasn't no any need. The grid had been the same. There was no demand each year.
But let's think about why there wasn't load growth. Globalization in the 80s and 90s was moving jobs and manufacturing to other countries. In the 2000s and 2010s, think about productivity from software and the internet, was mitigating demand. Where are we now? Now, as globalization evolves and as the software and the hyperscalers need more electrons, the same dynamics in the last 40 years that have been tamping down demand for electricity are accelerators for demand. So the best indicator to me, or the best proof point, you got to go back to 1945 and the end of World War II. That's the infrastructure build-out that we're going to have. And what happened at that time? The economic growth, but also for national security. We needed to build the electric power system. For both reasons, we need to do it again now, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
All right, my last question is, if we wanted to go with you to see it, where would we go? Where would we see? Is it in your plant, one of your plants? I want to see this in action, because this is really the great part of America right now.
Listen, I'm proud to represent 75,000 employees in the world, 18,000 in the U.S. that are making this a reality every day. We talk about bringing new energy to the energy transition. We can do that in our factories. We can do that out at our project sites. We'd love to have you at any of the above, Jim.
Well, I've got to tell you, when I think about what you're up to, and I'm, with international, domestic, when I think about nuclear, the SMR, I come back, I don't even know which is the most exciting, perhaps with the idea that I never thought in my lifetime that I would see 5% growth to the grid, every year?
We got a real shot here. The last time you saw growth like that was after World War II.
Right.
And this is our moment.
But the prosperity that happened in this country after World War II, that's when we became one nation with the middle class.
Exactly, and I think that's what people are not really realizing today. For the last 20 to 40 years, the basically technology shifts that have happened with the electric power grid always had winners and losers.
Right.
Coal was replacing gas. Wind and solar were trying to replace gas.
We're putting miners out of business who were just going and doing their job every day.
But now this is what's going to enable the economic growth that this country needs and the national security dynamics. We need this for AI. This is purpose-built work that we're excited to do.
And it is something where we can have a trade. We can change the trade deficits with many countries, not just a handful.
Think about the LNG deal the government references in Asia with Japan and Korea. They're going to need gas turbines. We'll make the gas turbines in Greenville, South Carolina.
Well, I hope they start mentioning GE Vernova and building things in America, in Greenville, South Carolina, where I want to go.
We'd love to have you. I look forward to it, Jim.
Thank you very much. That's Scott Strazik, CEO of GE Vernova. Guys, this stock's come all the way down, but this is not a one-year thing. This probably lasts the rest of our lives. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.